Hey, everybody, and welcome to a wounded wild ride with Stevo. Oh boy, have I been really going through it with all kinds of a tsunami of hate just barreling over me and through me and at me, and it's been very difficult to be Stevo. And for the record, I was terribly misunderstood. You'll hear all about it. But suffice it to say that I've been having a pretty difficult time. And in this difficult time, I reconnected with Scott Randolph. And finally, all of the people who have been demanding to know what happened to Scott Randolph will get arguably more of an answer than they even want. It gets very heavy with Scott and I. This episode does not make either of us look good at all. I mean, frankly, it's a bad look, but we're putting it out anyway. All of it, no edits. May God have mercy on our souls. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, people of the universe, I bring to you the magical reunion with our original Wild Ride co-host, Scott Randolph.
Woo!
And boy,
where do we begin?
Is this a heavy one. Suffice to say that we've been dark for a couple weeks. Jeez.
Oh, who? You.
Just the
Not
show.
you and I.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right.
Have been dark.
Yeah. So, I mean, we intended to be dark for 1 week, but then it was like, all right, well.
So I'm the first episode back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, dude, like with this whole thing that I'm sure everyone is aware of, but, man, like.
Well, I think we can transition into that. Like, you know, like how did we start talking again?
Right. That's how that's okay. So I didn't, you know what? I was like, I've been so happy with the podcast and like, you know, the effort that we've been putting into it, like the excitement about it.
We've been having fun again.
Yeah. And I felt like the podcast is going really, really well to the point where I was like, actually actively in the comment section and like like looking at it, and I've been like, man, you know, and like where people, a lot of the stuff I'd be like, hey, you know what, good point, like fair point, like I'm gonna work on that, thanks, you know, like even responding to stuff like that. Then when the Harland Williams episode came out, like I saw some comments on the thing saying like, oh dude, how can you say that about immigrants? And I didn't even for 1 second think like, oh my God, like I just thought, how insane would you have to be to feel that I was saying that seriously, you know? Like I just didn't even, and then like what, maybe not even a week later, my old publicist hit me up. He's like, hey man, like this publication is reaching out for a comment from you. Like about, they're gonna write an article about like your, like, you know, these comments on immigrants.
So the episode had been up for a while. It didn't happen right away.
It was up for like a few days, maybe I think I want to say less than a week. And yeah, I came to, we put it out on Tuesday. This was on Saturday. And, I mean, if anybody doesn't know, I can't even imagine. We got Harland Williams on the episode. He's like the most like absurd comedian. And I'm like, you know what? Like, let's just be absurd.
Let's riff and like try to keep up.
Right. So I'm like, I think I even said like, how about politics? Just to be like absurd and crazy. And then, it was like effectively like, this whole thing with like ICE, I mean, makes perfect sense, right? I mean, like, come on, like the majority of immigrants are murderers. Like that's just such a patently absurd thing to say.
That's not what, but that's how you said it, but that's not like.
That's how I intended it, and that's not how it came off. Is what I'm coming to realize.
So I think to start out, like I got a text message from Tommy, and he's like, dude, he's like, check out Steve's post, and I was like, I looked at your post, and I'm like, fuck ICE, you know, and then. To be fair, we haven't followed each other in a while. We can get to that point, but I was like, okay, so I looked at you, and I was like, well, what's going on? So I went on Reddit, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like reading the comments, and I was like, Steve's a racist. And I was like, just kept reading. And I was like, and then somebody had the clip, and I looked at the clip, and I saw what they're saying. I know you. It like, I know how you are when you're joking. It didn't come out like you were joking, to be fair.
Right, for sure.
It didn't come out
evidently,
but
obviously.
But the way that they clipped it, though, with no context,
Sure,
it made
I mean,
it
you
sound
can-
bad.
you
Made it sound way worse than.
but then people dissected it, and what I saw in the clip was, when I was looking at it, I was like, because I've known you for 12 years, if not longer. You did it in a way where you kind of like, you raise your eyebrows and you kind of ask a question, like you did it like that. How you kind of, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean,
You wouldn't recognize when you do it, but like I just know you well enough to know your quirks, and I was like, oh, that hit bad. and then I was like, fuck. My thought was, seeing all that, we've had our differences. I've had resentment, like,
Sure.
towards you guys. Obviously, we can get into that later, but like, as mad as I ever was at you, and like whatever my thoughts were, the fucking, like, as much as I want to, be like, oh yeah, like this happened, like fuck those guys, like the last thing on earth I would ever think was that you're a racist.
100%.
So, but people on Reddit don't know you. Clearly you're not a racist. But like, my thought on that was like, okay, the joke didn't hit, and my sentiment towards the whole thing was like, I think I've been telling you this before. I was like, dude, you're probably just so burnt out from all the stuff that you've been doing that
Dude,
like,
I recorded 5 podcasts in the space of 30 hours.
well, that's
At
what I'm
that
saying.
point,
It's like,
that wasn't
But
probably helpful.
but it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
like, it didn't, because I know this sentiment. It didn't come off as a joke, but my thought was like, clearly you're not a racist. I was like, you need a break, dude. And I've been telling you
Right.
that for a long time.
You've been telling me that for a long time.
years.
Years. And I'm just like, and so that was my thought. I was like, oh, dude, he's fried. Like, you're burnt out, and like the joke didn't hit, and it's the worst possible case
It's
scenario.
the worst, dude. It's the worst. To just put into perspective, like, when I realized that it was actually a thing that was gaining traction, and people thought that I was like genuinely some kind of hateful, like ignorant, like that I would actually believe that. I immediately took to like, I drafted a thing to post on Instagram. I sent it to my sister. She's like,
And your sister's a bleeding heart liberal.
oh,
like,
dude, I'm the most liberal, snowflake, peace-loving, like, like, that's why it's so difficult for me. And I was like, okay, in this situation, like, I'm going to post, like, how I actually feel. I was like, please let me be hated for how I actually feel. It's so difficult for me to be, like, hated for the 180, like the complete opposite of what I'm about. So in any case, I posted that, and then it became clear to me, oh, okay, so now everybody hates me.
yeah, well, no matter what you post. I mean,
Right,
I'm sure
for
they
sure.
loved you on Rumble in the beginning, and then I'm kidding. But Rumble's more like right leaning and fucking.
Who even knows? But it was a complete nightmare, and like my whole reaction to the situation was just like, okay, well, I feel like this is the universe is forcing me into an exercise in which I need to try to find peace from within. Like, clearly, like, external validation, like needing it to be, like, that just got kneecapped.
Yeah, but that could be it too. But also, like, I mean, speaking fully transparent, like, you were like, 2 things I've noticed that have happened while you're so fucking burnt out that like you can't, was, let's just say, the Danny Brown episode.
Sure.
That a lot of you got a lot of backlash for that.
Yeah.
And whether rightly, but that was on a hellish press tour.
100%.
Then the reason why I gathered that too,
And you don't have to be careful, like,
I just
don't even worry about anything.
yeah, I just want to, because we're cool now and I'm not angry, and so like I want to make sure that I'm like expressing myself without emotion.
dude.
So,
like,
but-
have at it.
And then so it'd be the Danny Brown episode got you a lot of backlash, and then
The Adam Friedland. You know,
Adam Friedland.
I honestly think with the am I getting Adam Friedland? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was such a disaster when I went on his show. And then it was another disaster when he came on our show. And I was just like, oh man, now like sitting down with Harlan Williams, I was like, I don't want this to be like another Adam Friedland. Let me like just try to like, because that was my problem with Adam Friedland, was that I just wasn't getting it. Like I wasn't getting it. And like I was trying so hard with Harlan Williams. I'm like, I'm going to like be in his world. I'm going to try and get it. Yeah. I'm going to try and be absurd. And like, that's what happened.
but
Right? Does it make sense? Like,
yeah, you overcompensated for
yeah,
whatever
I'm like,
happened.
okay, like I'm gonna play. I'm gonna be absurd. Like,
But it's
like,
not- like-
now we're in Harlan Williams world.
But you weren't like, but to my point, like
That's not me.
it's like it's the worst of two
I'm not
worlds.
good at it.
No, it's the worst of two worlds because you're burnt out and you're
Yeah.
stepping into their world where like
Right.
they know how to like talk
Right.
politics, you know.
Well, I mean,
And they're good at improv and just like off the cuff and off the fly, and just
Right.
everything they say is just
Right.
improv and hilarious. And it was like, I mean, Harlem, he's so good at it.
he's so.
Well, he came off like a real gem after that. Like the internet loved him.
Yeah, for sure. But it was just it was difficult to keep up with somebody where it was just constant
Right.
improv, hilarious. Everything he was
Right.
saying was so funny.
Yeah, and so how you and I got, because I was
Right.
driving up to Canada. So how it started was, and I didn't even know this was going to be the theme from it, but Daniel called me. We were texting each other, and he wanted
Daniel's my ranch hand.
Daniel, your Mexican ranch hand. You know, like so. But I hit up Daniel. Hit me up. He was asking me about movies, and we sometimes talk about movies, and I was like. And I kind of just said, hey, like, so what's it feel like to you know, work for a racist piece of shit? and he started laughing, and I was like, dude, like, whatever is going on between Steve and I, like, it's so funny because it's clearly not the fucking case. And him and I had a good talk about it.
With Daniel, I was on the phone with him. And he was like, hey, I talked to Scott Randolph. And I was like, oh, like, rad. We're like, what? He said, you know, like, he told me like that he thinks it's really like upsetting everything that's going on with this Harlan Williams scandal, and he just said, hey dude, like I know Steve, I know that he is the least hateful racist person ever, and I just remember thinking like, oh man, like Scott went out of his way to bring that up and to say that to Daniel. And I just thought, man, like, because in my mind, there was such a problem between us for so long. Like, and I was thinking, like, man, I could totally picture it being even perfectly justified for you to be Scott Randolph, see all this hate aimed at me, and think, man, like, Steve hurt me, you know, like, screw him, like good, like you got, you know, like, and that, but you didn't take that position.
Well,
Like,
I couldn't because it's not true that you're a racist. So it was like it wasn't like you did something out in public where like maybe you've done to me in the past. I'm like, oh, he got his shit. Like
right.
It was like I'm like racist.
Right.
So that's why I talked to Daniel about it. But and like you're right. Like there's other things that you know you and I had going on, and like
For sure, and like we can get all up into that, but in that moment when Daniel told me that you said something supportive, it's like, no, I know Steve, I know like who he is, I know what he's about, I know that's not him, and I thought, wow, like Scott didn't have to say that. Scott could have been like bitter and just been like, oh yeah, it's tough shit for Steve, you know, like he's going through that, whatever. He hurt me, like I don't care, you know. And like the fact that you didn't do that, like I just thought I just started texting you for the first time in however long, and I was like, hey, I just spoke to Daniel. He told me, you know, about how you were supportive of me, and like that just means so much to me. And as I typed that, I just started bawling. I was just crying, like.
Well, I called you. Then I saw
so
you.
You get the text, and you call me immediately, and like there's no hiding it. I'm bawling on the phone.
bawling is an understatement. I mean, you couldn't even get words
even
out.
talk.
And yeah, and
Really?
I was driving
Dude.
up because I was driving to Canada to see my girlfriend Kayla.
Yeah.
and I saw the text and I was like, this is ridiculous, and I just called him.
Yeah.
So then we started talking, and then he would like. Well, I think I even said like, "What's up, you racist piece of shit?" And then he started laughing and crying at the same time, but like it was dead silent. I was like, "Oh, that wasn't the right thing to say." But
I
he
mean,
was
when
actually
it-
no, but because you didn't say anything, because you're crying so bad.
Yeah.
And then you were like, "Dude, it just means the world to me." And
means
then
so
we started
much.
clearing the air of like things
Yeah.
that came up. So
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, dude, I'm like trying not to cry right now, dude. And like, I waited until just when we sat down, I just wanted to say, Scott, it's so fucking good to see you.
it's good to see you too. It's okay, let it out, dude. Well, I mean, here's a buffer. It'll probably make you cry in between this, but the last time I was in Valencia, it was with Sam Macaroni.
Oof.
And that, like, I was driving up here, I'm like, oh, dude, like, that's the last time I saw him. And I was like, man, like, I mean, I haven't even talked to you about Sam.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe it.
And like, that was one of the last texts that we had where I was like, hey, I just found this out about Sam. Our fucking, the number one, he's still number one on my speed dial list.
Yeah.
He always will be.
Well, it was so
He had a
unreal.
brain aneurysm and died. And that's like our guy. you
Well, it
know?
was so unreal that even after, I think I texted his phone, like, is this true? Because I
Yeah.
just couldn't believe it. But, I mean, that was not a good buffer because it probably just made the
Well, I
fucking
mean,
it worse. But, like, yeah, I mean, so how do you, I mean, you know, there's a question all the time is like, what happened to Scott Randolph? So
There are questions, and and we never addressed it.
and you
like,
said
know
there's
what?
no good way to do it, which, yeah, you're fair enough. There was no good way to do
Right,
it.
well, we'll do it now, and I think there's a fine way to do it. But to that point, there's when I was like so on such a good one, and it's such a shame, man. It's such a kick in the nuts. The podcast was in such good health, and I was so excited about it, and I felt like I was really doing a good job on every episode except for Harlan Williams. Like, and I was looking at comments, and like I saw like there's like every single episode was we need to know what happened with Scott Randolph, huh?
I mean, I get constant DMs about what happened to Scott, and I just don't answer because it's not my place to fucking.
Well, I'm on private on Instagram just because it's like a new life for me. But and then somebody will add me, and then I'll be like, oh, who's this? And I'll accept the follow, and then it's a DM. Dude, why aren't you on Wild Ride anymore? You know, and it's like, and there's Reddits about what happened to Scott Randolph.
I haven't been on Reddit in almost 2 years now.
Probably keep it that way.
Scott saying that isn't exactly comforting for me, but what is comforting is knowing that I gave up a bad habit and I'm keeping it that way, which is what you should do when you drop a bad habit. And the way to drop a bad habit, ladies and gentlemen, is to replace it with a good one, which is why this episode is brought to you by Fume, my favorite flavored air diffusive device. And it's because, man, if you want to like give up nicotine, for example, there's more to it than the actual nicotine. It's the busy work, the hand to mouth, the something to do. That's what Fume gives you. It gives you something to do, and it's a good something to do, a good habit. I love it. I use it all the time just because I love the flavored air. And if you want to get your journey pack, you can get a free gift with it by going to tryfume.com and using the promo code STEVO. I'm telling you, man, it's good to drop a bad habit, and it's good to keep it that way. So one more time, for your journey pack plus a free gift, go to tryfume.com and use the promo code STEVO. Now let's get back to it.
No, it's so funny too because Reddit is such like if any of these people that are ever talking shit on Reddit, here's an example. There was a guy on one of the Reddit like, what happened to Scott Randolph, and he was like, oh, he's such a piece of shit. And I responded to the guy back. I said, hey, I'm doing a podcast and I want to invite you on Zoom to talk about our grievance. Like, why do you hate me so much? And then he was like, done. I can't wait to fucking use commenting. And so then I was like, cool, DM me. I'll send you the link. I was dead fucking serious about bringing this guy onto a Zoom face to face. Like, dude, what did I do to you? We get into the DMs and he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm just playing, man. Like, it's all good. Like, I don't really hate you." It's like, that's everybody.
It's not going to be everybody, but you're right. And it's not, I don't even think it's that they don't feel that way. I think that it's just that people lack the balls to actually like
Say it to the
directly.
face.
Yeah.
Kind of like you when you went on Vinny's podcast.
Well,
Let's start from the beginning.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I think that's fair.
Well, that's why I was angry
Right.
at that point, because I was like, well,
Right.
when we did have our discussion, like, I went off
Understood.
and I did it to your face. And not to your face, but I did it over the phone. And so then I was like, this fucking guy like goes on a
Right,
like,
right,
I
we're
wish
not
you would
there
have just
yet.
said it to me.
We're not there yet.
What, Vinny?
Okay, we're gonna go back to the last thing that the people knew. Like Scott was on the podcast. Like what was going on at that time in the last however many episodes that you were on.
Yeah, I wonder.
There was a lot of tension building, like a lot of frustration over like multiple different things. And it was like I was, to be fair, a complete lunatic, an absolute nightmare. And I definitely drove all of you guys completely insane.
To be fair as well, so we can at least lay the table of this, you were doing that and I had stopped bringing things up to you, and I was coming from a place where it was building inside of me, and so I was pissed off. So we're both coming at this like weird spot.
There was a lot of tension building, and we had this insane run where you and I started out. It was just me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when we began working together, 2014 January, it was only me and you, and we brought suitcase. We checked luggages filled with T-shirts and maybe we shipped books. I don't know. Like
we always ship books from Hachette, and then we brought. Right. We were so excited to get executive platinum because we were able to carry 3 suitcases a piece free.
We lugged suitcases full of merch to my shows and comedy clubs. You set up the table and sold them, and that was our entire business model. Mm-hmm. Then we grew from there with like a very basic, low level online merch operation, and we gradually built it up. I became more regular in creating YouTube content, which we started baking in promotion into, and we found our online merch operation really becoming like a lucrative business. And everything was working super well, and it just got bigger and bigger. We were on the way up. We were like, the more successful we were, the more money we made. Like we got all excited, and my dad's the big businessman, and like I was making him proud. You were getting paid really well because you got a percentage of all the merch. Like everything was so great, and the touring operation grew too. Like the ticket sales were better, more merch, more money. Like everything was just on the way up and up and up. Then the pandemic hit, and I had to stop touring, which was the biggest blessing. But what we did during the pandemic, we adapted and we became way more sophisticated in the online merch business.
And podcasting.
And we started podcasting. So during the pandemic, we started selling merch online so effectively that we were like, why would we pay all this money to a third-party fulfillment warehouse operation? They're us. Why shouldn't we just get our own warehouse? I'm like, all right. So we start renting a warehouse, staff the warehouse, and we're killing it so much. We got another warehouse. Now we got 2 warehouses.
And you have a movie coming out.
I had a movie
driving
coming out.
Traffic to all engines.
And it was by this point no longer just me and you. Mm-mm. Now all of a sudden we've got the warehouse staff. We've got the touring crew, we've got the tour bus, the editors, like team of editors, like all this. Like what happened was the overhead, this operation like grew so big with all of these employees and warehouses, independent contractors, and it was great. 2022 was so by far the most successful career or year of my career. It was actually more than double financially successful to my next most successful year. Like you take my second biggest year of earnings, it's not even half of what 2022 was. And the second year was 2023, which wasn't even half of 2022. And then it just all started receding. We got like multiple things happened. The Jackass movie came out in 2022. Huge success, big year, all this revenue coming out. 2023, less, but we're like kind of addicted to the money at that point. We're like just pushing harder. We gotta make it happen. Gotta make it happen, and we pushed harder, promoted more, and it was less effective. And because I was pushing harder and promoting more, like people kind of stopped fucking with it so much. And like I saw all this negativity, like, oh man, Steve, I was like with the give me your money, and like I got really sensitive to that because I thought, man, like now when I'm promoting, it's not effective. It's not even generating revenue, and it's making people actively dislike me.
Intro, the problem is that I'm not on salary.
Right.
I'm on commission based off of what we sell.
So I backed off of promotion, and that meant you backed off of getting paid.
Right. Right. So it was okay, cool. So those things happened, and the only thing I was getting paid from was the podcast. So
you had a percentage of the merch, a percentage of the podcast, and a percentage of the tour.
Yeah.
And so. It was doubly intense, the problem, because, and this makes me schizophrenic, because I back off of promoting, because I'm like, you know what, like what I want to do now, I want to repair my reputation, I want to repair my brand, I don't want to rub people the wrong way by trying to reach into my fans' pockets all the time. I got to back off from asking people for their money, and it was important to me to do that, but at the very same time, what that meant was like way less money was coming in, and the overhead with the warehouses and the staff and the editors was still, all the expenses were as high as they ever were before, but the revenue was way lower than before. So now when my monthly financial statements were coming in, it was like, oh, this month, like how much did I make? Like all businesses combined? Oh, it's a negative number, and it's over $100,000, like bleeding more than $100,000. And I'm like, I'm not lazy. I work really hard.
But okay, so then to my point with that problem, and
you're like, the solution is to promote.
Well, before that, we had a sit down at your house about what type of accounting to do. And it's the accrual or it's the cash. And everything was fine until we switched to accrual. Because when you're making money and let's say like a commission needs to get paid out, like that doesn't show up on your book. So like when a commission gets paid out 2 months later, so all of a sudden, let's say you didn't make any money in that particular month, but you owe the commissions, now that's showing up as a negative.
I don't know that I don't think that there's a distinction between accrual and cash accounting that would have affected the fact that I was bleeding money out my ass.
You were bleeding money, but I don't think it was as bad as
right.
As what it looked like on paper.
It was really bad. Like I had all kinds of money going out the door and not a lot of money coming in, and so my response to every like horrific negative 6-figure monthly financial statement was like, I would get overly emotional. I would like lash out at you guys.
Take a screenshot of the numbers, send it to the group chat.
And I've got to stop losing money. Like at the and I would just like I'm losing my ass. Like can't do this. And you were like, hey, if you want to stop losing your ass, maybe promote your businesses so that they make more money. And I'm like, I won't do that.
I saw it as a trigger to say promote. I would say promote, but it was also
and then you telling me that I needed to promote became this like
Cringe word.
this raw nerve. And every time that you pushed that nerve, I would
yes,
be mad.
But also we brought your dad on to do like the final. No. Even with your dad, the whole thing. Like I remember we were sitting in Florida, and your dad read all the business review stuff, and he's like, "The bottom line is, Steve, you got to promote merch." And you got up and walked out. So I wasn't ever saying anything wrong. You can't have a business without marketing.
Right.
The problem is the structure where it was is like, I was getting paid off of like when you marketed, we weren't marketing. And like my beef was with, okay, you were mad that the ticket sales weren't going on with the tour. But I'm like, if you look at anybody's like Instagram, like if you go to like Bert,
sure.
it's pinned. Their tour is pinned on their page. Wherever you go on their Instagram, it's like, oh.
I mean, that's really all they do.
It's all they do.
Right.
But with you were so sensitive to it that it's like, oh, you're going to Canada. Well, there's going to be 17 pictures of you and Lux. And then the last thing is you and Lux is your tour dates. And so it's like, it's none of my business, like how you run your business. But it was like, why can't you just fucking pin the thing there? And then the reason why that was such a problem is because then we go on tour and then there's no ticket sales and it's like, then you're like fucking losing it. And then it just became like a cycle of just this.
Right.
This whole thing. Am I wrong or am I right here?
You're absolutely right. I was like schizophrenic. Like I will not promote. No matter, do not say the word promote around me. Like you say promote, I'm out of here.
There was one text where he said promote 3. I'm not gonna say promote.
Like, and I was like, I would not hear that, but I also was like giving you guys like pure grief and make me a nightmare over how there wasn't like
any money. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that, and I can get, and this is part of my beef too, is like, you are very generous with your money. You're so generous with your money where when you're like, Scott, you're gonna get a percentage of the tour. And you're like, I'll give you like, I think I made like 5%. And you're like, I'm going to give you 10. And I'm like, no, Steve, dude, 5 is cool. Like, I know this is going to be a problem later. And you're like, nope, I said 10, you're getting 10. And then, okay, cool. 10's coming in. I'm making money. I'm like, oh shit, like this is crazy. And then you see your financial statements where you pay 50% tax. 10% goes to this agent. 10% goes to this person. 10% goes to me. You're left with 20% net after all that. And then you're seeing this and it's just like, you're cool for the first 5 or 6. Nope, that's what I said. Scott's getting this money. No, I'm so happy to do it. And then it just starts grinding the gears. And then you're like, and then he sees the bank statements coming. And then it's like, then there's resentment building because I'm getting paid this much money. And then I was asked to not go on tour, to have Isaac go on tour. And now I'm not working as hard as Isaac. And then I'm sitting at home and so you're just like, this guy's getting all this money. And it goes on for like 12 months and then you can just see it.
That's totally fair.
And then when I'm gonna me sound like an asshole with you. It's like, it's the same thing happened with, we were sitting on the plane to go to, we were coming back from somewhere, and this is when you brought Vinny on full time to edit the podcast. And I think we had a number in mind, like to pay Vinny whatever he was going to do. I'm like, okay, dude, Vinny, like, he wants to quit his job. And
I remember this.
So we're on the plane. And I'm like, Vinny wants to quit. He wants to quit his job. He needs some more money.
Coming back from the cruise.
Yeah. And then I was like, dude, I think it's a good idea. Like, just have a talk with Vinny. Maybe bring him in full time. He's a good editor. Like, we like having him on.
I said, I don't want Vinny to have to work another job. I'm going to bump him up to this crazy.
No. We agreed on a number because we both were reading these P&L statements every month. Yeah. I'm like, this makes sense. And then I'm like, okay, I'm like, came up and got you. And I'm like, Vinny, like, he wants to talk to you. And then you sat down and then I see the conversation's over. I get up, you get up, and you're like, I just offered Vinny double what we talked about. And I'm like, Steve, dude. And then it's the same.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
And it's good.
I was like, I don't want him to work. But then Vinny did like the whole thing was, I don't want you to have another job. And he's like, oh, cool, man, you're giving me all this money. And then like I find out he's still working his other job.
Yeah, well,
I was like, wow, that's kind of a slap in the face.
No, that wasn't. No. so this is what happened from my.
Especially because I felt like he wasn't even honest about it. Like,
well, we can get into Vinny's honesty later. But don't worry, you're next. But and then to that point, and then you're paying Vinny all this money to do the podcast.
Then he's got AI editing it.
Yes.
One thing that's become pretty clear on this episode is that sometimes I've not been that wise with my money. I might have wasted some of it, but I'll tell you one way that you are not going to waste your money, and that's with True Classic, because it's the best t-shirt that you can possibly get. And I can qualify that statement by pointing out that they've sold 25 million t-shirts to 5 million happy customers, and they have over 200,000 five-star reviews. The reason why? Because they sell high-quality shirts, man. And there's room in my wardrobe for shirts that have no loud graphics on. You know, I like a good, clean look these days. And if you want a good, clean look with high-quality shirts, then you head over to trueclassic.com/Stevo to see what it is that I'm raving about. The deals are great, the quality is great, and you are great when you're wearing it. trueclassic.com/Stevo, and let's get back to it.
No. But here's the reason why I brought it up was because of, like, we're growing so fast. We got all these people. We want to start going to arenas. We want, or whatever, grow and grow. We're all so maxed out with the amount of businesses that we have. Like, you have no idea. Like, we've now taken control of your emails because you're not responding to emails. Right. And so we're fielding, we were running like 6 businesses, right? So I have Isaac coming in to help me out, and like, dude, our time is so spread thin that like it was a godsend to have Vinny do the AI. I was the one pushing for the AI because I'm
for
like,
a year.
Instead of Vinny wasting 4 hours to edit a video, he can just click a button. It's 13 seconds, and the podcast is done. We can have clips, and that frees up more of his time to help assist with the growing of what we're trying to do. You just saw the amount of money that you're paying Vinny, the amount of seconds that it took to edit a podcast. So from my perspective, I'm like, well, from a P&L statement standpoint, and okay, we're paying him good money. We're already paying him good money. That we just freed up 20 hours a week for Vinny. We can use him to grow the business to do other things. You're like, okay, Vinny, and then you're screenshotting what you made, and you're like, oh yeah, all you have to do is, punch a button, and you have the podcast like finished and edited. Like, you made more than I did this month, Vinny, and that's when those texts started coming in. And to be fair, like,
I was not fun.
You were not fun.
He's said that to me a couple times. You made more than me this month.
Yeah, and I think,
and it was true. Yeah, everybody made more than me plenty of months because I lost money and everyone else didn't.
Yeah, but like I want to go, like, I don't even want to go back to the accrual, but I really, because I remember it took us like 6 hours going back and forth with Julia, your dad, and I'm like, guys, I'm begging you, don't go to accrual, because I know how Steve thinks. He's going to think it comes in, like when we make all the money from Australia, and then you finally get paid 2 months later, and then you got to pay commissions off of what comes in that month. You got all your money going out for the money that you made 2 months ago. So it's not really accurate. Like, let's just say you made $1 million in Australia, February, and then your money comes in, the books are done. 2 months later, commissions are paid out, $100,000.
I think that's probably perfectly fair, and I think we've probably bogged everybody down with accounting and money at this point, that we can just arrive at what happened next. You were so miserable. I made you miserable is what happened. And
it was tough.
I made you miserable, and with all the negative numbers on the financials, you said, hey, Steve, I'm gonna step back from the podcast. So there's 10% of the podcast that
I was miserable because, like what I was saying, like we knew you were so fried, so we try to make your life as easy as possible. And how many sit downs have we had with you in the past where, I remember we were laughing about it. I'm like, dude, I'm like the alcoholic wife. The husband keeps promising he's going to quit drinking, and he doesn't quit drinking. And in this reference, it was like, Steve, like, I am begging you to just answer emails. because that would make my life easier. And so then I remember we were at my house and like we were like, hey, let's all meet at my house at 11. You were there. We're like, Isaac and I boiled down like 60 emails into 5 questions. And we're like, all you have to do is answer these 5 questions, and then Isaac and I can go run off for 2 weeks and just. So 11 o'clock hits, 12:30 hits, you come in, and you're like, oh, woo, what's up, guys? And we're all sitting there waiting since 11. And then you're like, well, before we answer questions, let me go get coffee. And then you go get coffee. And then we come back. It's like 1 o'clock. We ask you 2 questions. The second question, you're like, well, I'm going to go for a bike ride. Can you hold those 2 questions? And then let's all meet back here at like 8 o'clock. And so am I wrong?
I mean, I don't doubt it. If the specifics aren't exactly it, then the spirit of what you're saying is.
Do you remember
100%.
that?
I remember that very vividly.
And so that's when I was just like, oh my God. And then we did something. I was like, you know what?
So the specifics. All right. I don't.
But that's how it was. It started to get a lot. And I'm more of a planner, and you're more of like fly by the seat of your pants. There started being beef when we were in Michigan. When I was like, oh, what? You're just gonna we're just gonna go to this firehouse and film it. Like, it pissed you off.
Oh, right.
But I was mad because I was like, dude, like, we have to plan things in order for it to hit. And you're more of like, no, we've been running and gunning. So it became like a difference of like how you wanted your business to run, which it's your business. It's your brand. It's your image. You have every right to say. I felt like I was just the only person on the team that can say things to you without like any buffer or filter to be like, yo, Steve, like, you gotta
Right.
And I felt like everybody else was more employees and they wanted to keep their jobs, so they're like, yeah, whatever the boss wants. But I've been with you for so long, so I think that's where me and you started getting sticky. And then I think it was maybe like in November.
I remember the Firehouse thing, like, and here's where, like, when you and I started working together. Like, it was super run and gun, and we were like all about like, making footage happen. Like, filming was a big deal, and it was always so fulfilling. And like, when we filmed, everything that we filmed for the Gnarly special was epic. Everything we filmed for the Bucket List special was epic. And then when we started working on the show, what's now Crash and Burn, I remember, like, I'm trying to do the thing where the skateboard goes underneath the car, and I'm like, like doing the barrel roll over
at your
the
house.
car. And I remember really, really having, like, this is basically like filming a trick shot. You got to drive the car, and I'm skateboarding up towards it, and I'm jumping on the car, and it took many, many tries. And I remember, like, really, really having the sense, like, oh, dude, Scott just hates this. He resents this. He's like, oh my God, why does this take forever? Like, and I was just like, the joy of filming is gone.
You're not wrong. It became...
like you weren't stoked, and we had so much joy in creating footage, and now that joy wasn't there, and you were not loving it. It was just like,
fair enough.
It made it really difficult for me trying to do what we were trying to film, and I'm like, here, I got this guy who doesn't even want to be filming anymore.
I think I was just burnt out. And I was fried, and I think...
And then when we got to Michigan, we got, like, they say, hey, we got this firehouse. They'll do whatever the hell you want. And I'm like, oh, I'm trying to do wake-up stunts. Like, will they let me fall asleep in the firehouse, and they'll just blast me with a fire hose to wake me up while I'm asleep? They're like, hell yeah. And I'm like, dude, we can't turn down this opportunity. We just got carte blanche to take over an entire firehouse.
And that's how we've always done it.
They're setting me up a bed in the firehouse, and they're going to blast me with a fire hose while I'm asleep. Hell yeah, we're going to do that. Okay, so it's on at 5 a.m. Like, that's when I'm going to be asleep. They're going to blast me, and you couldn't even get out of bed.
Well, I mean, yes.
You were
to be fair, a day before that, I had 103 fever with COVID. Like, I was pretty done. Whether, I don't even want to get into the COVID conversation, but like, I was sick for sure. I swear to God, I had 103 fever, but regardless, I didn't wake up I was burnt out.
Didn't even bother. Didn't even say, "Hey, you didn't say to me like, "Hey, I'm gonna skip this one, man. I'm not feeling
I know.
well." You were just like, "Oh, I don't need to be there." I'm like, "Screw that." Like, so whatever. And I'm like, "Wow, we're gonna go to all these lengths." It's like it's such a pain in Scott's ass to film the footage that's gonna become part of the tour that he's gonna get 10% of. You know, like,
Yeah.
like
Fair enough, but I did set up the whole thing.
Okay, I mean, you know what, and the only thing that matters is that we are conveying that we had on both of our sides like legitimate things that we were like that built tension. You're saying, hey, that's fair. That's not like we're acknowledging equally.
I shouldn't have even said I set it up.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But
you know,
yeah, we're both.
I was a nightmare. You were resentful.
I'm sure I was a nightmare too. I mean, I wasn't probably the happiest person to be around. I mean, I like that Vinny's here because he can kind of like have the guardrails. And I was telling Steve, I told you too. It's like, dude, my secret, like how I started coping with things was like we did that Dan Bilzerian podcast, whatever episode that was, just 3 years ago. And then he handed us all like a stack of vapes. We gave the vapes to Vinny, you know, and I will make an amends to you after that because so ever since the Dan Bilzerian podcast.
Did you hit Dan Bilzerian's vape?
He gave us a box of like his product and I ripped it the whole way home because we were driving. And then I was like, And then I went and bought one. And then ever since then I had one on the road. That's why you'd see me on the RV, like my curtain would be closed. It was a way for me to like cope with all of like being on, because you know, I didn't like being in the RV. I got car sick. And so I was just zoned out, and then I'm sure I became a little edgy, you know. And then
this is when like we were doing the hiking every day, like the whole crew, and we were going hiking, and I'm like, "Oh, Scott, dude, we're having a blast. It was the most fun tour ever."
Well, the hiking, I swear to God, I didn't go because I was feeling like dog shit with COVID,
but it was like the whole tour.
We flew into North Dakota, and I'm in the hotel going, oh, and I took at 103.5, and I was just done. And then, yeah, was that the tour when you said salmon and Brussels sprouts for hikers only? And I'm just reading this text message like, this fucking guy. And I mean, because clearly I didn't go on a hike, and I'm on a group text with everybody, and he's like, salmon and Brussels sprouts, come get it while it's hot, hikers only. So look, dude, there was things going on, and I was like, this motherfucker. And so I think from then it kind of became like a hidden resentments and like things, and so that's what kind of led to, and we both.
I mean, dude, it built up, and then like, to your credit, like you sensed like my concerns over like, and I'm like, dude, I work. I'm not even necessarily going to say I'm good at my job. I just had a lot of jobs, and I was not being lazy. I was working, and I'm just going backwards, losing money. And you felt my concern. You said, "Hey, Steve, I'm gonna step away from the podcast. There's like 10% of the podcast revenue that I'm not gonna be bleeding.
I'll help with the merch.
I'm gonna help with that." And then and I was like, "Wow, Scott, dude, that's so rad, dude. Thank you for that." And I think that's probably a healthy exercise for you. It's like, God, let me just get out of this podcast ecosystem, because at that time, it was just a big obligation, and the podcast was failing because I wasn't loving doing it.
No, it wasn't that. The reason why I got it, 'cause the podcast just became less fun to do
and more of a chore.
And I knew you didn't really enjoy doing it, because like we would fly out there to do it. We'd finally get the podcast by like midnight. And then we got to get on the road by 6 o'clock. So it's like, you know, there was that. And then I'd be like, hey, well, dude, we have all these shirts. Like, do you want to give away free shirts on the podcast? And you're like, that just reminded me that the bucket list. And then we almost didn't even do the podcast.
I remember that.
So it was and then we would do the Adam 22 podcast, and then you'd come in yelling at Vinny because the air condition was, and it was just like, bro, You told Vinny to do it this way the week before.
You know what? Here, I'm starting to get a little bit self-conscious over like how like much of a nightmare I was, and everything you're saying is 100% true. But please, Vinny, I've been a little better for like the last year or so.
Yeah,
right?
it's been a little bit more pleasurable to be.
I
a little
bet.
bit. I mean,
No, a lot. No,
I just feel like, oh man, like now I'm feeling palled off.
no, because
and no, not. It's
It
not
wasn't
that
my
I'm
intention.
No. Not piled on. I'm feeling exposed.
for sure, for sure.
Exposed for the
Vulnerable.
But there was
for the
also
reality. But like all this stuff, you know, I have been enjoying doing the podcast.
Good.
I did, you know, like really pare everything down. There are no more warehouses. There's been minimal staff. I've got like, you know, I've got Paul edits the podcast. I've got like Tanner and my guy Mott and Vinny. Like,
Good.
Everything's super downsized, super manageable, and for the most part, like I think I'm considerably less of a nightmare.
100%. And I also feel like because there was a good 6-month period where I wasn't even on the pod and you were still doing it by yourself without.
I would do it.
Yeah. You'd go a couple months without dropping anything, and then you'd post a couple. But there was like a couple month period where we didn't even talk because I was resentful towards you. And once you reached out and made it amends, and then I made it amends, like after that, and you came to the LA for that 3-pod trip, strike mission, and we were like, that was fun. Like, and it felt like it did when I first got onto the pod.
Yeah, I called you up one time and I was like, Vinny, I did you dirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, and so so then when I did call you and say that, you know, I wasn't gonna be on the pod, we'll do that, and I'll just, you know, take care of this. I was just gonna work on the hot sauce, and then, you know, you had let your dad go from being involved in the business because we were downsizing.
My dad was a bull in a china shop. He really, really like didn't have good bedside manner. Now listen here, if anybody knows about the importance of bedside manner, it's me. And my bedside manner absolutely kicks ass when I'm rocking with Blue Chew Gold. You know why? Because it's not your regular old Blue Chew of the days before. No, this is Blue Chew Gold with extra ingredients. You've got the 2 active ingredients for the blood flow, and you've got the 2 new active ingredients for the stimulus to just be ready to rock and wanting to rock and delivering that rock. Yeah, dude, Blue Chew Gold. It's like if you want to have help having better sex, there's never been more help than Blue Chew Gold. And if you want to try it, even get 10% off your first month of subscription to Blue Chew Gold, then you go to bluechew.com and you use the promo code STEVO. I'm telling you, your bedside manner will be off the charts if you go to bluechew.com and use the promo code STEVO. Now let's ride this baby all the way home. He was egregiously offensive towards people who we were in business with.
Yeah.
That rubbed you the wrong way. There was all the tension that had been building up.
Yep.
There was my failure to promote any of my businesses.
Yep.
So they were tanking. And then there was one call that, like, my dad got on and started doing his bull in the china shop. And you said, that's it, I quit.
Yeah, we were on the podcast call, and it
wasn't a podcast call.
It was a hot sauce call, and like I remember you. At this point in my life, like, dude, I was living in at this point I had been a shell of a person just because of like I was just I was 50 pounds overweight. I was just vaping, eating Postmates, just like, bro, what am I doing? Like, this is like what something needs to change, and then we did that call. And your dad was being aggressive to these guys that like me and you have talked to these guys, they're cool guys, and you can see these guys getting visibly upset. And then I look over on the Zoom and you're like, I can see you getting rubbed the wrong way. And then my problem is I'm emotional and I react, and when I have things held in, and then once I break the seal and my voice gets raised, there's no going back, and I'm yelling. And then it became a thing I remember your dad said, well, if you were doing your job, I wouldn't have to be here. And I was like, I was like, fuck you, I quit. And
Big time. And then, okay, so that was the point when you quit, and when you didn't just mean I quit, you meant I quit everything.
Yeah.
We are no longer in a professional relationship, and like, if it was that same day or if it was the next day, I texted you. I said, "Hey Scott, I understand that didn't go well, but let's not let this get in the way of our friendship."
of course.
And you waited like maybe a couple days, and you said, "Hey, like, thanks for saying that." And like, I was like, "Hey, like, a lot of things have built up, a lot of things, but like we're friends. We got to protect our friendship." And I did legitimately make an effort to do that, but you just cut it off, and like you exited all the group friend text threads that we were in, and I was like, okay, so Scott's pulled the ripcord. I've like tried to protect our friendship, and Scott's like really shut the door on that and removed himself from every personal connection.
Yes, we like to call it doing dramatic exits. It was dramatic,
And I was butthurt by that.
I bet, but to my point, I was kind of embarrassed in the way I acted on the Zoom call, and so.
But I told you that I understood, and
I know, but I was just I kind of was like, and then just to be completely fair, like you and Lux had breaking up, and so I'm on a group thread with everybody. You do a very good job of keeping everybody tied in, but then I was like, you're sending us pictures of like you camping and you doing this, and I was like, like it's just all good, like everybody's gonna. And I was like, it's not all good. Like I'm pissed, and so then I removed myself from that thread because I was like, dude, like back to the point of the alcoholic parent. It's like it was like the 6th or 7th time that we've kind of had this thing, and I was just like, you know what, like I just need a break from everybody. So I got in my car and drove up to Portland like 2 days after the whole thing happened.
Sure.
And never came back.
Never came back.
And that's how you wanted to do it. And I was like, oh man, Scott doesn't want to be my friend anymore. It was the message loud and clear. And then however many months went by, and like I reached out a couple times because there were we were enmeshed. You were like getting so many business emails, and so like I would see I'd get no response from you by text when I was trying to be your friend. I would get one-liner emails. Hey, please get me off this thing. Like
that
please
was a
get.
little of me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like it was like all you ever sent with me and my bookkeepers, like please remove me from this chain. Please remove me. Like,
I was
please
angry.
Take me off this. And then at one point, I emailed you like.
You said icy.
I said Scott, like I can't help but feel that the limited correspondence that we are having is feeling very icy. If there's anything that I can do to make things right, please let me know. Like I don't want.
You handled yourself very well. I was more of like. No, I need a break, and it was just kind of like I had to get out of the situation.
And so where it got really, really bad was that I was butthurt that you wouldn't respond to text as a friend. You were butthurt that I wouldn't respond to emails as a former business associate. So it's like this now all of a sudden you're saying, hey, like with the hot sauce business, according to the date when I quit, like my 20% share of the
was
hot
worth
sauce
this much in my capital account.
$23,000.
Yeah.
So I just want my $23,000, and I was like, wow, like I was like, Scott didn't quit. Scott quit, but that didn't mean that he relinquished his ownership, so that doesn't make any sense. And if he can't respond to my text as a friend, why would I respond to this as a former business associate? He's only like sending me this. So I just I was like, well, he can respond to me as a friend on a text, and then we can talk about it. But that didn't happen. So that no response to your emails, no response to my texts was just status quo until one day I get an email. I am the legal counsel
You're missing.
by.
No. Here's what happened, and then you got us there. Good job. You got us to that point, and then I just said I had you and your bookkeeper on. I said, Steve, are you going to respond? And then no response. I emailed you again. Steve, you're going to respond? And then Julia emails back, and she goes, he wants me to loop in the CPAs. So then she loops in the CPAs, and I reiterate the story. Hey guys, like I quit January 24th. According to the operating agreement, it says like this is when a person leaves, they are entitled to what's in their capital account. And they said Steve's dad's going to handle this from here. So then your dad drafted up this contract. It says, Scott, like we can make this really easy. Here's this contract. All you have to do is sign it. But I'm like, your dad just drafted up a 3-page contract that it's not even saying an amount of money that I'm going to make. It's not even acknowledging. And I'm like, I should probably get legal counsel to read this contract that I have no idea. So then she looped in, and then that's
not how it happened.
I swear.
Well, I understood. That might have been why you got. But when a lawyer reaches out and says, "I've been retained by Scott Randolph as his lawyer in this matter, and I'm coming after you," that's a blatant threat of litigation.
The only difference is
it's very different than someone interpreting a contract for you. Like they came after me. They said, "Hey, like you pay Scott $23,000, or we're really going to take this to court." You know.
The only difference is,
and I'm like, Scott's coming after me with a lawyer now.
Well, the only difference is that your dad literally did the same thing that you did. Your dad's just not a lawyer.
And
your dad drafted up a contract.
Whatever it was, that like the obvious thing.
Can you help me out here?
In which way?
Well,
he came out to me with a lawyer. There's no different perspective on that.
But your dad literally drafted up a contract for me to sign, and I'm not going to. I've been taught very well by you. I will not sign something without getting it looked at by a lawyer. And your dad literally wrote a new contract. He said, "What you guys have," he said, "is completely null and void."
Here's the thing. Whatever it is, like I was crying out to protect our friendship, and you removed yourself from our friendship. And that was like the big thing. So like, oh, okay, now he's coming after me with a lawyer. He won't be my friend. Now he's got a lawyer. Like, all right, like that's where we're at now.
Well, then you just stop responding to the emails. And so then my lawyer's like, dude, he's not responding. Now we're going to have to take him to court. And so that's why I was like, wait a minute, like this has just gone too far. And that's when I texted you. I was like, hey, dude, like let's just get on the phone.
I mean, it had been going on for quite a while at that point. And you're right, it went way too far.
It went way too far.
It went way too far. And it got to a point where I was like, man, like, how do we ever come back from this? And who would have known how long it would have been that we ever, like, Well, then thank God that we're even having this conversation.
Yeah,
I'm mortified by this whole conversation. By the way, like,
what sense?
I'm mortified by like what an embarrassment it is to shine a light on the reality of like the way that I conducted myself in all of our business, and I don't have an excuse.
Well, to your credit, like, and I've been saying this, so that's why I've been like begging. I was like, bro, we have to take a break. Like, we're just running ourselves to death. And like, I wasn't the best person to you. I mean, like I was always just with anybody. I was just known as the guy that was just kind of like always like funny negative, like, oh yeah, whatever, you're an idiot, like, okay, whatever, idiot, like, but that's not like who I am now. And so it's like I was like that because I was burnt out. You were like that because you were burnt out, but for some reason you don't like to admit that you're burnt out, and you're just like, whatever. Like,
you know what, here's the thing, and I think I gave this a great amount of thought. If there was a year that should have been burnout, it would have been that unbelievable year of 2022. But here's the thing. When everything's working, like when money's just pouring in, when money, we were earning money, like we were in so much success that there was no burnout because we were loving it. And then burnout comes in is when you're working so hard and losing money. Now, all of a sudden, it's not fun. Now you're not like, oh my God, I can't even believe it. We're killing it. Now it's like, ugh. Now it's not working. And so, like, I just don't view it as I'm doing too much if what I'm doing's working. It's when what I'm doing stops working, it stops being fun, and now, like, we've got legitimate burnout mental health problems.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what
Because
came first.
2022 was not an issue. There was no problem in 2022.
No,
and
it
we,
was.
and we worked around the clock. We used to laugh at how much we hated weekends. We can't even
For
believe-
sure, you do have a point. Like, yeah, that's fair.
When it's working, it's great.
I think
Except it
the
stopped
burnout
working.
maybe is just an excuse to where it's like we got to blame it on something.
Right. Like, it stopped working. We stopped being so successful. There was all bloated, And, like, I think that had we recognized, I view it less as burnout and more like you and I should have been like, hey,
Yeah, what do you do in that situation then?
I think like what we needed to do was pare down our operation and retrace our steps back to where we were a smaller operation.
Why didn't we?
I think that this will sound critical, but I think that the term for it is lifestyle creep. Like you couldn't go, there's no way you were ever going to be able to wrap your head around going back to a time when you're certainly not lugging suitcases through airports to set up merch at the merch tables. You legitimately kind of like took on this identity of like, I'm the CEO guy. I'm the executive guy. I remember one time in England, I was like, dude, I'm never buying a first class plane ticket ever again. It is such a stupid waste of money. You said, kidding me, dude? I want to be flying private,
Of course.
Yeah, so like...
But it's like, but to that point, it's like...
We needed to trim down the operation because the overhead no longer justified the revenue that was coming in.
Okay, but the amount of work that we were doing, I'm not sitting in the middle of coach behind next to two people. Like,
well, understood.
You're making... I mean, that's why people apply...
And then here's where my mistake was, is that you had all of these percentages of all the revenue streams coming in. But I was the only one paying Isaac's salary. Vinny said, like, all of the expenses were only coming out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had no exposure. So the bigger we got, the bigger the overhead got. I'm the only one paying for that entire overhead. And that's why when your commissions get paid, you got the same fat check and I got the big negative number.
My fat check stopped coming in.
Wow.
And so like, but you were hardly unsuccessful in any of those years. You didn't have any negative years. So that's where it's like the cash basis accrual counting. It's like, and you did have a lot of negative years, but I'm guaranteed
Negative months.
Negative months.
I had a lot of negative months.
But you did do better than all of us combined at the end of the year on your tax returns. And I'm not like saying anything like that. So it's like you had it in your head. We're like, fuck, I just keep losing money, and I'm paying this person. You for sure made 10x more than we all did.
No, nowhere near like that.
I mean, without getting the specifics, I wouldn't know. But like, you didn't lose money, and you did make money in those years.
In your, like, I can tell you, 2022, I made like you made like 20%. Like we were like
Of what you made.
Of what I made.
Without the movie?
Well, no, like even with the movie, like like if all of my whole tax return, every money, like every dollar that I made, like if that was the pie, I had 80, you had 20, and then the next year I had 70, you had 30, and then the next year, like
Well, the next year what? Because that's the
2024.
Are you willing to say what you made in 2022?
Nah, that's not important because it's I wouldn't.
Yeah, there's no need to do that.
But I did make 20%, right?
Yeah.
And then
Wait, I'm just saying that each subsequent year, your numbers went down, but your percentage versus what I made went up.
But so the 30-70 year, that year
That was 2023.
I remember I paid $60,000 because I started buying my own flights. So just in flights alone, I paid 60.
Oh wow, I don't remember that you did
I
that.
told you and your dad that, and you're like, that is true. I bought
wow.
I bought both round trips to.
I mean, now we're just in minutia, and I think it's
For
insulting
sure.
to the listener. But like the big picture point, we've understood what happened, and the resolution to the lawyer thing.
My thinking was with the resolution to the lawyer thing was like.
You felt that you were owed $23,000. Your lawyer said that we're gonna we'll litigate this by the
Well, you know how lawyers do.
by the state of California legal code. So my dad just plops it into ChatGPT, and it spits out this specific statute says that when a
Member or a manager.
Yeah, so you owned 20% of the hot sauce company. It says when a managing partner who's an owner quits, that ends their managerial duties. It does not do anything about their ownership. And so if you wanted to trade in your 20% of the company for what it's worth, what you needed to do is formally remove yourself as an owner, which you never did. So
I thought "fuck you, I quit" was pretty.
I know, but that means you quit working. That means you quit working. That doesn't mean.
But see, that's where it starts. So like.
So it was black
it's open
and white.
now. It's open. I wouldn't have had a case.
If you didn't have a case, that's the thing. You had definitely no case.
The question was, do you want to take this to court because we have a case? And I said, I'm not taking it there.
It was super black and white. You said I'm owed $23,000. I said, Scott, that's really not the case, but I'm happy to give you $23,000. Like all I need is just that you're not going to come after me for some other weird shit. So I was like, I'll give you the $23,000, but it's going to have absolutely nothing to do with the hot sauce business. It's just going to be a formal, to bring a conclusion to our professional relationship. And
at this point, I was so pissed. I just thumbs upped it and said, sign it because of the podcast you did with Vinny. So when you did the podcast, because after we had that conversation, we were cool. And you sent me a text.
We had a conversation. You were yelling at me, telling me I need to be in therapy. Am I talking to my sponsor? And I'm like, Scott, I'm not the one yelling right now. I've been really composed and pretty even keel here.
But
You're
that's
the one
not kind of
your head
how
off.
it went. It was you and I talking for the first time after a year, and I had a lot of things to say, rightfully so.
And you doubled down on everything that I already was. I was like, man, Scott got all bent out of shape because he wanted his money. His money went down. He was pissed at me.
My money went down what?
Because I stopped promoting.
Yeah.
And you were like, Steve, you're screaming your head off at me. You're like, Steve, I wasn't on salary. I got a percentage. Steve, my money was going down. And I'm like, wow, Scott's really doubling down.
Well, no, I mean that's where I thought it was. And so
I found that to be particularly unhelpful because what you were putting your money in front of what I felt was really needed, which was my repairing my brand and my reputation.
Well,
you were like, screw your brand and your reputation. I want my money.
It wasn't like that. It was more of like I said, you don't have a Coca-Cola if you don't have a marketing department. So that was we've already gone through this before,
right.
And I don't want to get into the minutia of that.
So in any case,
because it'll go tit for tat.
We hung up on that phone call, and I thought, wow, super unhelpful. Scott just doubled down.
But you did text me right after the phone call, and you said, hey, dude, I'm really glad we talked. And I love you, dude. I won't leave my dad on this. We'll get through this as quickly as possible. But
and I honored my word on that. I said,
but you were saying, I'm so glad we talked. And I was like, okay, cool. But before we got off, I said, Steve, dude, I said some stuff. I was pissed. And I said, I know you. You're going to be pissed off at me in a couple days. And I said, once that's over with, let's have another conversation and kind of figure it out.
And that took some time because I was it was a super unhelpful conversation.
Oh, I went off. I was in the wrong in that conversation for sure.
It was super unhelpful, and you were like, while you were screaming your head off at me, you were like, dude, why haven't you explained on the podcast what happened? People want to know. People are asking. They want to know what happened. I'm like, Scott, you really don't want that to happen. There's no good way to address what happened.
No, you didn't say that. You said, I don't think, whatever you said, whatever the specifics that you said.
There's no good way to do that. I said, Scott, I've basically, I couldn't understand why you wanted me to address what happened in our relationship and how you left the podcast, because I didn't see there was a good way to do that. Then, and I think I was in Arizona. Vinny flies in and he's like, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast in an airplane. It's called No Roads. You want to do it?" And I was like, I just had this call with Scott. He really wants me to address what happened, but I don't want to do that on our platform. I was like, let me do it on Vinny's, so then the really diehard people can hear it. And you're right, I get in Vinny's little airplane podcast, and I was like, man, like,
Well, can we hear it from Vinny's perspective?
it wasn't that like.
What, the actual episode or how it went down?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I characterized what happened on your podcast.
Yeah.
And it was relatively objective, but I was super resentful when I addressed it.
Yeah, and then when we talked later, you were like, "Yeah, dude." You're like, "I knew that that shouldn't have been aired
Sure.
out."
And that's why I told Vinny. I said, "Hey, don't do anything with that without sending it to Scott."
And so then I thought you were like, in my head I was like, this passive aggressive. Like, I sat there and talked shit to you for an hour and a half and came off like a psychopath, but like I just had to get some things. I'm like, well, why didn't he address any of this when we were talking on the phone? Like, why did he have to wait to do it on a podcast? Now
I did. I said, Scott.
Well, you were maybe a little bit more calmer when I was talking to you, and I think on the podcast you were fucking pretty livid. And then I was like, and then I texted both you and Vinny, and I was like, dude, like this. Like, Vinny's not stoked on this, and like
Vinny was totally stoked on it.
I was stoked I was stoked, but I was also not stoked because like I kind of had a feeling that Scott was gonna say we can't air any of this. So it was just like the time, like the.
I thought, yeah, I was pretty gnarly. Let Scott hear it. So at the very least, if it does go out, then Scott can get in the airplane with Vinny and like do the Scott's rebuttal, and that way Scott gets to respond to everything that he doesn't agree with, and Vinny gets 2 banger episodes for his podcast.
Yeah, and you were like, oh, and we'll put it in the vlog because you were filming a YouTube video at the time.
I was gonna try and drive traffic.
Yeah, drive traffic. So that's why I was stoked in that aspect. But I already like subconsciously knew that like it wasn't gonna be put out.
So I could button this up pretty well. Like I think people listening, like
the ship sailed on Monday.
No. I think the viewers, like, whether they agree with you or they agree with me. Like, it was pretty heated between us, right?
Sure.
So to full circle this, like, as mad as I was at you. And
you were directly confrontational in a very lose your temper fashion. I was sleazy, passive aggressive, in a behind your back.
So we have
airplane podcast.
We have potential lawsuits going on. We have fucking you and I, 12 years of just explosive at each other, and all these things happening. And as mad as I was, and then when this whole Harlan Williams things happened to you, there was no fucking way I ever agreed that you would have been a racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like,
you know me for what I am.
But that's how pissed I was, and that, for me to be like that angry at you, to be like yes, like fucking this guy. The fact that, like, for me to get mad at that, like, I just couldn't. I think I just wanted to button it up that way because it's like, that's how ridiculous it was when I heard that.
Yeah, and it meant the world to me because there was such deep resentment between us, and like I said at the very beginning, like, you could have just easily been like, man, Steve hurt me, like, like I'm glad now he's hurt. Like a lot of people, a lot of unhealthy people would have absolutely taken that, and been. It made sense to me that you would have been glad that I was going through the hardest chapter in. Yeah, I mean, this whole Harlan Williams thing with people like believing that I'm like actually a hateful person. That it's been the hardest thing, man. It's been so gnarly.
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, are we cool? Like,
yeah, of course we are.
Like, I mean, we talked a week ago, and we were really cool.
I almost feel like.
And then on this.
Dude, like nothing about anything that we've discussed here is like reopening a wound. Like I think we've opened a curtain to let everybody see and that's gnarly. But like, for me, all this has been is an exercise in like me acknowledging like what an absolute nightmare I was and how much hell I put you guys through. And, and I think that you've met me right in the middle. And, like, I think everybody understands, like, how we saw it from each of our sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, like, it got to a point, like, it just, if I would have responded to the emails and if you would have responded to the text, we would have worked through it a long, long time ago.
If we would just had a conversation 6 years ago, like 3 years ago, we wouldn't have been in that situation. But I think everything worked out.
Tell us what's going on with you now.
Well, I'm happy with my life now. Like after that whole thing happened, I just went up to Portland because every time we were, I have Kayla here with me, and even to that point, it's like during December, like we kind of did a split because she was like, dude, like you got to figure some shit out. Like I was miserable, I was overweight, I was like just angry. So it's like,
did you lose a bunch of weight and then put it all back on, then lose it again? I mean, again?
No. Like,
how many times have you inflated and deflated it?
Well, I think back in like when the whole thing happened in like December, January, like Kayla and I had been talking for a little bit, and then she kind of just called me out, like, and it's like, dude, I wasn't happy to be around. So I guess to the point of like me being on the road, like I'm sure I brought weird energy to like, so that's just kind of
gnarly.
It was
like,
gnarly.
Like when I lost it on you. The one time when you wouldn't go hiking.
When I didn't cook you salmon and Brussels sprouts.
But to your point, like that was a state, and like she wasn't wrong, you guys weren't wrong. Like I wasn't fun to be around either, just because I let it get so bad, and so then
right, and I made you miserable. Like miserable people aren't fun to be around.
right. So
So
then I drove up to Portland, and then I just kind of got into routine. I started losing a bunch of weight, and then linked back up with Danger, and we've been kind of working on stuff. But Danger's got like 7 properties, and just kind of
love them. I've always been so impressed with Danger for like never like taking on the mentality of a celebrity. Like he's been very objective about like what Jackass is, what it means to him, and it doesn't define him. And he carries on and manages the money he got from it in a way that sustains him and doesn't.
Yeah, so I've been in construction on a house up there, and I want to rent it out to sober livings up there too, and so I'm just trying to figure that out. I've been your old pool guy Paul started Break Glass Alliance. There's a
network for caretakers of people with special needs.
Yeah, so like a lot of people, because he has an autistic son, and he's just like, dude, there's no place to where you can get a babysitter, and sometimes I just need a break. So he started this company where it's like a conduit to put caretakers and parents together.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, so it's like if you have like neurodivergent or like Down syndrome or like cerebral palsy, but like mainly autism, like it's to like a lot of these parents can't find babysitters that can like certified to help with that. So Break Glass Alliance is what it's called. And so, but Paul's a good guy. I've been with all those guys.
Break glass, like an emergency, break the glass.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
And he told me to tell you hi, he misses you.
Yeah, I love that guy.
And then, I've been doing that and just trying to do an F-45 over in the Pearl District of Portland. And I just, when we were on tour and we were going through Portland, I always just liked being in Portland. And so I just wanted to give it a chance, and I like it. It's
man, my last memories of being in Portland, it was like so creepy with just everywhere you looked, like hardcore drug abuse going on.
It's where we were.
They recriminalized drugs in Oregon, right?
But like, that's what I was thinking when we went up there, and it's like 80% better. Like there's no boarded stuff up. Like where we were, where people were.
It was so gnarly.
It's not like that there anymore. It's
do they still have to lock the doors?
No.
Because remember we went to Nike and the doors were locked to let us in. They'd unlock it. We walk in and lock it behind us.
There's still some like in the outskirts, but downtown, like it's literally it's night and day different. It's still bad, but like it's not like, because there was tinfoils there. I remember we got out of the car, the guy was like torching.
There was like a guy in a wheelchair with one leg smoking dope on a piece of tinfoil.
Tinfoil shooting up, like crack.
You remember at Burnside? I mean, how many foils were everywhere? Like,
dude, Portland was creepy, dude.
Yeah,
like I don't know. My last experience in Portland just because of all that. It was pretty jarring.
Yeah, you'd be pleasantly surprised. Are you going up to Portland
I mean,
anytime
now, now with that said, that's the last time we were there. We were with Bam. We were going around skating, like that's like the experience we had in the streets. Prior to that, every experience I ever had in Portland was amazing.
Yeah, I always
They've
just
gotta
felt
keep
like
Portland weird, just like they'd keep Austin weird.
Yeah, I always just felt kind of a connection there, so I wanted to go up there and give it a try. And dude, it's crazy. Like the properties are so like you can get a condo in downtown for like $250, and it's just like what?
Yeah.
Like it's so I'm just trying to kind of mess around with that kind of stuff. But dude, I do miss you guys. Like I was nervous to come here today, and
I mean, of course, dude. Like,
Yeah, my girl asked me before I left. She was, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "Weirdly,
tell me about your
kind of
guys'
am a little bit."
conversation because you had some pretty like.
well, I was mad at I
you
was
had some
mad.
pretty harsh criticism of Vinny.
Yeah,
What
so-
else is new?
Well, for one, he has his foot in my face on this letter. Just kidding. No, so what I got pissed off at Vinny for was when the whole thing happened with the podcast,
The airplane.
the
podcast.
airplane podcast. Which are you doing that?
No.
He
Okay.
lost a hard drive with like all of the episodes, and they weren't backed up. He left it in an airport, and now like this pilot who literally flew them all around so that they could do this together, and he's like, "Oops."
Yeah. Well,
I didn't
Did
want
you
to
tell the
relive that
pilot?
mistake. Yeah, I did.
What did he
Yeah.
say?
He was bummed, dude.
Yeah, like
you can't find the hard drive anywhere.
No, dude, it's
You
gone.
didn't think to back. Have you seen how we do?
I know.
Do you know how
you-
many
and
times all of the footage is backed up?
I know, and I usually back
have
my
two
shit up
QNAPs,
all the
two
time.
Even I, with my house construction, I have it backed up three
Dog,
places.
I back my
Dude.
shit up all the time. It was just this one.
It was just this one like show and every episode of it.
Yeah. Was it like?
I know, dude. He was. Chris was bummed.
It was just this one.
I know.
Where was it in between like relationships, and so you were kind of being a little naughty boy and got
No.
sidetracked?
No, I was flying to the East Coast to go to a wedding or some shit, and I thought I had it with me, and I was on the
I
plane.
mean, it'd be one thing if it was one episode.
I
was
know.
all of your episodes.
I know. 15 episodes. I know. And Chris was bummed. He was more bummed.
15 episodes. You said we could do the calculation.
You've learned nothing.
You have learned some things. You're a different person now in a relationship. You're not.
Yeah.
But so I was pissed off because when I sent you guys a text message with Vinny, I was like, I talked to Vinny and I was like, dude, like, what the fuck? And he was like, yeah, dude, we were bummed because we spent all this money to get out there and Steve used that. And so then when we were on a group text, I was like, Vinny's bummed about it. And you're like, I know Vinny's not bummed about it. And Vinny's like, well, I was more upset that you were bummed. And I'm like, that's not what you told me.
I know, because I have a hard time fucking like speaking up, especially to you.
He has a hard time speaking words that are true.
But and so that then that happened and then him, Isaac, and I were on a thread where dude, I've been obsessed for some reason. Once I get into my head like the word promote or with the word like once I can feel it like I'll just keep bringing it up. And I asked Vinny to watch the movie Shot Caller.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, hey,
The one with the guy from
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
And we're like, dude, Vinny, you would like it. And he's like, yeah, I'll watch it tonight. And then he didn't watch it. And then so it became a thing
I
with Isaac and I.
100% promise that one.
And he's like, I promise I will watch it tonight. And then we hit him up the next day. And then he's like, no, I didn't watch it. So I just got upset with like Vinny's changing one or two words of the truth to
the
like.
way that you said it on the call with me, it's like, it's his junkie mentality.
I was like, his junkie jive talk
His
where he's
junkie
like.
jive, manipulate, like
Three-card money
like,
conversation. Because you do have the jive. Like, you know how to like.
You are a scumbag.
Oh my God.
Wow.
You are.
No, I don't say a scumbag, but like.
Not a scumbag, just dishonest.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's like, and you've had these talks. So I was like, you're a grifter. And so I just unfollowed him, and then that's why that whole thing happened.
And then he's like, so I unfollowed him, and he reached out to me. He can't just be like, hey, what's up with unfollowing me? He's got to be like,
he's like, hey, Scott, happy holidays. I was just thinking about you.
It was Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Scott.
He's
I'm like,
he's like, of course he's hitting me up because I unfollowed him, but he just got to make it now. He just can't be.
to be fair, I was very resentful on a lot of things.
If the conversation had started from the Merry Christmas, I would have brought it up.
Yeah, for sure. But I was just, I was at both of you guys. I was looking for reasons to be angry. I found them, and like, but that's like, dude, I love you guys more than anything, and like, it was such a good time in my life that like, I only want to think of like positive things towards that time. And so like, when I would see Vinny post of like the wild ride, I'm just like, I just don't want to see it, because my whole like reaction is to like hear nothing, see nothing. I don't have to deal with what I knew I had to deal with.
Know is like Vinny came over to the ranch at one point. Don't even know if we were recording a podcast or whatever, but or maybe when he was going skydiving for the first time. Vinny comes to the ranch, and we're in the sauna, and he's like something or other like, I'm like, I said like, you know, because I haven't looked at Reddit in like 2 years, and I'm like, what's going on in Reddit? I think I was asking, like, for all my, like, I don't promote anymore. I don't throw people out of my shows. Like, I really took a lot of criticism from Reddit and really, like, made a big effort to change for the better because of it. I was like, has Reddit gotten any nicer towards me? Like, have I improved anything? And like, Vinny was like, yeah, maybe a little bit. He's like, but they're still in there. And like, Scott's in there, like, and I'm like, wait, what? Scott's in Reddit, like, responding to people, like, what?
Well, I'm in there responding to comments about me.
To the hate comments, yeah.
Yeah, well, people are like,
how is that good for your mental health?
I was angry. And I fucking like, it's not like, you know, but like when you're like angry and stuff, it's
You're
like
I was in Reddit going on there trying to get people on my podcast.
yeah, exactly. It was things like that. It wasn't like, you know.
I mean, you've always been like, you'll address haters and like kind of neutralize them, kill them with kindness. But
yeah, I used to be like, but I just became an angry person, and I just, yeah, but it wasn't anything like, I would never go on your Reddit talk shit about you.
Well, I mean, whatever. Like,
I would never do that. But that's it was more of like things like that, because I would be like, well, you know, what's going on with you lately, or
so you were like, you wanted to know, are people asking about where I went? So you were going into Reddit.
I think I went on Reddit and I typed in Scott Randolph, and then I saw what happened to Scott Randolph and Vinny, and then I was like, oh, where's that? And then it was on your thing, and then I got another notification of like, you know, what happened to Scott Randolph.
Everybody who wanted to know what happened to Scott Randolph is now like, please, enough with the what happened.
I wonder. I mean, I think
that we probably wore people the fuck out.
No, but I think people.
No, I don't think so.
No, I mean, this is like another one of the, like, on the comments on Reddit, like, people want to see more of you with the bros having authentic conversations.
It's always the comment.
It's always like the best. I think it's the best choice of a podcast, and so like
whenever we have solo episodes, it's always the comments. This is the best kind of episodes. We need more of these.
Yeah, it's more heartfelt. And that was part of the resentment too, is like, dude, we could have, like, our lives would have been so much easier if we could have just done more of these, because like, you know, it's like we wouldn't have to work so hard to get the guests and like be angry, and you think it's a disappointment when you're telling the bookkeepers, okay, well, I'll be in LA in the next 2 days for 3 days. I want this guest, and it's like, when we could have just had like maybe do 2 of these a month, and it would have been just like, yeah, just as good, you know?
I mean, who knows? The problem was that, like, based on who the guest was, would be how well the episode performed. And when we would put out episodes with just us, the numbers, like, they wouldn't perform well, you know, like in a business.
But I think we didn't give it enough time to test that theory.
Yeah, I mean, and whatever, you know. Yeah. Now, here's my real reaction. We should probably wrap it up pretty soon, but
Jesus,
my reaction is, well, yeah, we should probably do more solo episodes now, because with like everyone hating me the way that they do, like, I don't have it in my heart to ask anyone to
I knew that was coming.
You think so?
I knew that was coming.
I mean, dude.
I don't like. Here's a prime example. like Valentine's Day, right? Like it's the only one thing I've posted since the hey everyone like I was misunderstood. Like I posted one time since then, and it was a story. It was Valentine's Day saying like thanks to people who've supported me, like who know who like what I'm actually about, who I actually am, and this lovely lady is one of them. It was from my girlfriend. Like, thank you for being my Valentine. She tells me as soon as I posted that, she got flooded with hate. Just people were opening up my story so that they could hate on me. Like her Instagram handle was there. They clicked that and they're just like, blah, like, and I'm like, oh wow, so I'm radioactive to anybody who like I post. Now if I'm gonna show up like on anyone's shit, that's gonna be flooded with hate. And I'm just like, wow, so like as like a personality in the public consciousness, now I'm contaminated, I'm radioactive. And I'm like, I go back to the whole thing of I gotta really turn my focus away from external validation and just find peace within, because I know what I'm about. I know what kind of a person I am. I know that I'm an insufferable douche a lot of the time, and whatever, like to my like I'm pretty comfortable with the guy who I've become.
You're happy.
I'm happy with who I am. And like maybe podcasting isn't it, like maybe like, maybe like I'm 51. I'm almost 52. Maybe it's time to call it a day, dude. I don't know.
Vinny's like, no. You think?
Oh, dude, have you seen his tramp stamp?
Yes.
Have you?
Dude, I gotta see it.
I was peeping the story. Hey, can we what you showed us earlier?
What, my extra skin?
Can we see the extra skin on the podcast?
Sure.
Does that bother
Wow.
No, it doesn't
I
bother
mean, dude, he
me.
posted on his Instagram. I'm
Oh, you
like,
did?
dude, he's out of his mind.
I didn't
He
think it
used to
was.
say, like, I can't believe Vinny takes his shirt off. Like, it's no big deal.
Yeah, well, at the merch table.
You're talking about my last post?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was really contemplating on not posting that.
Really, and you did?
yeah.
I still need to sauce you a follow.
Yeah.
And you too. I love you guys, dude. Like,
Dad,
I
love
missed you
you
so
too.
much. And
He says that there's 25 pounds of loose skin.
have you touched it?
So when you get on a scale and it says 185, like really, it's like 165.
Yeah, that's my justification. That's pretty gnarly, dude.
So,
Dude.
and then, so what's the surgery going to look like?
I mean, dude, like
Oh
that.
my God.
It's
I didn't mean,
it's a
we can cut this out.
bearskin rug.
So what do they do on the surgery?
I mean, it's a gnarly incision. Like, it's gonna be like a scar that goes up here and then up here, and then I'm gonna have to get my nipples reconstructed and like replaced because they're so far down that it's gonna have to be like up here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's.
Your arms?
I
are-
mean, you wouldn't.
This
You
guy.
wouldn't. You wouldn't trade it for nothing, though.
Fucking shoulders in a way.
Dude, let me ask you something real quick before we go. Hindsight's 2020. Are you glad you didn't get boobs?
Yeah, it's big time.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not.
But like you don't miss it from the bit or anything?
I'd love to show you, like how it came out in the show.
What
My
you did?
God.
Oh, you did a prosthetic.
No, I didn't do a prosthetic, but just there's a whole
There's like a
section of the show.
storyline.
All right.
of
Well,
it.
yeah. I mean, are you ever? I would like to go see one of your shows next time you're in
Yeah.
the area, and then do I have to pay for a ticket?
No, dude,
Okay.
I got you, dog.
Okay,
I love
thanks.
you, man.
I love you too.
I'm embarrassed of everything that we've revealed,
Well,
and you know what it is? It's real. It's true. Like that's me.
I mean, I'm embarrassed by
What
the
they
way
did.
I acted too. I mean,
Yeah.
my whole thing was like I was an angry person, and like I've since gotten into the ACA program and been like working because my problem
Adult
is
children of alcoholics.
because when I get cornered or when I get angry, I react like a child, like how I screamed at you for an hour and a half, and like you handled yourself very well on that call, and literally I got off the call like fuck, he won because he did. It's like whoever won. It's like whoever's voice go. Like I was angry, and so like for that, I'm very sorry.
It's all good.
And like, but that's part of my problem is like it comes from insecurity, and I overreact, and
It's all good, dude.
So
Yeah, I fucking love you, man.
yeah, I love you too.
All right, sick.
All right, sick. Later.
Now that we're on the other side of that one, I think we can all agree that that was not a flattering conversation for either me or Scott, or Vinny, for that matter. But hey, you know what? I'd rather people dislike me for who I actually am, what I've actually done, than to dislike me for something that I'm not. And I stand by that. So it's without any second guessing that I said, just put it out, man. People want to not like me, then at least they're getting it right. And you know what? Like, I'm really happy to report that that my jackass family still likes me. You know, people who really matter in my life still like me. I feel good about who I am. Like, yeah, man. I don't know if I even want to do the podcast anymore. Like, I don't know, man. This whole episode really, it affected me. It affected me. So, whatever. We've got one in the can from before. That one will come out. We'll see what happens. We've got another one next week. And I don't even know what happens after next week.
So if anybody's looking for another co-host, DM me.